4. Hi everybody, how you doing? Well, sun is shining after a few rainy days. I didn't quite get to singing in the rain like Mint Royale, but not far from it. So today we are looking at Now That's What I Call Music 71. Originally released in November 2008. So only just over 11 years before today's date, which is May 2020. What have we got in store here then? Well, we kick off with Girls Aloud, The Promise, and it's another high quality moment from them. Suddenly Got Good. About 3 or 4 volumes ago now, they suddenly got good, and they've kept it up ever since. This is great. This is really good melody. It's maybe a bit cheesy and a bit camp, but that doesn't mean it's bad. It's just a good song, really. Good chord structure, good arrangement, good vocals. But yeah, best of all, good melody, really. So kicks things off. Fairly uplifting fashion. Now, we follow this one up with a song that was a massive hit, one of the most striking debuts, certainly in terms of UK hits. She might have had a few more in America before this one came out, but this is the one that really pricked up people's ears. I Kissed a Girl by Katy Perry, who'd go on to become one of the biggest stars of the noughties. This is probably actually pretty much the best thing she ever did, to be honest. Did she do anything as good? Not that it's the best song in the world, but it's definitely a striking pop song. I Kissed a Girl and I liked it. Obviously very provocative in the lyrics, but it's it's fairly harmless stuff. It's not crass. It's dealt with quite playfully. And it's kind of glammy in its sound. So that one gets a free pass from me. Now Pink isn't so lucky with So What. That one I find really obnoxious, borderline satanic. It's so antisocial, with no real conscience. It's a classic rebel without a cause. I don't really get what goes on inside Pink's head in a musical level. I don't really think I've got to know her through her music. I think her songs, as I said before, they're all totally contradictory. They all seem a bit contrived. Sometimes maybe she's being genuine. Sometimes she's just portraying a character. Certainly the character in the song, So What, is an obnoxious brat. And as I said before with the Avril Lavigne stuff, if it's an adult commentary on stuff for people who've got fully developed minds, and then it's you can play with these ideas, i.e. being sarcastic and ironic. But when you're aiming it at young kids, then it's any sense of irony is probably going to be lost. I won't say that's always the case. That sounds really patronising. But when you're talking about smashing things up and just starting trouble and stuff, and you've got very young fans, you've got to be aware of that. What it's going to do on the people who listen to it. It's the kind of song that could almost start a school shooting or something. So I really don't like Pink, So What, and musically it's obnoxious too. So yeah, that's a real stinker. But luckily, the Kings of Leon are on hand to sort things out with Sex on Fire. This one's had a massive 350 million views. That's a third of a billion. This definitely wasn't their first single. I think they'd had a few before, but this was the one that really took them off stratospheric. So yeah, good stuff. Now, this is followed by a controversial one, All Summer Long by Kid Rock. I don't mind it. A lot of people don't like Kid Rock, and this song basically merges 2 songs that sounded similar anyway. I don't know if it was a sample or anything. I don't think so. Certainly, the first one's Sweet Home Alabama, and the second one is Werewolves of London. I think Werewolves of London came out late 70s, so way before sampling. So they obviously just used the same kind of musical riff. That's Warren Zevon, by the way. And our friend Kid Rock is basically amalgamated the two. So yeah, Werewolves of London by Warren Zevon and Lynyrd Skynyrd it was, who did Sweet Home Alabama. And he's kind of made a third song out of both those two elements. And it's all summer long. Apparently 8 people are credited to songwriting that, all in all. You've got the original songwriters of Werewolves of London, which is 3 people. You've got 3 people who originally wrote Sweet Home Alabama, and 2 new people who wrote All Summer Long. So certainly not going to make a lot of royalties from it. And Kid Rock was always already famous by this time, so it's not like it would have really given him publicity, I guess. Well, it gave him a UK hit. Yeah, it's not too bad. It's kind of cheeky, but there's way worse culprits. Disturbia by Rihanna. Strange song name, isn't it? Disturbia sounds a bit like a dystopia or something, like some J.G. Ballard novel. And musically, it's a bit more kind of normal. It doesn't quite sound as disturbing as you might have thought with a name like that. It's pretty good. It's quite upbeat. It's quite catchy. It's just her voice at the end goes a bit weird. I suppose she's trying to sort of portray someone being disturbed. Right, okay. I just found out the movie Disturbia was partially inspired by Hitchcock's Rear Window. Yeah, of course. But yeah, Rihanna's voice is a bit horrible at the end. She's sort of making these really... well, she sounds like she's got her head down the toilet bowl and she's throwing up. That's the kind of sound I make when I'm in that state. But so, for a song called Disturbia, I suppose that's fairly relevant. Okay, Nao next, and Miss Independent. I really like most of Nao's stuff. I've not really liked this one. It's not too bad, actually. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just typical fourth single syndrome. It's not saying anything it's not already been said on his last 3 songs. Pussycat Dolls are back, having had a bit of a hiatus, and When I Grow Up. Now, this is another one a bit like the Pink one. I'm not quite sure if it's being ironic or not. If it's not, it's just really sort of shallow. But there's one sentence, be careful what you wish for, because you might just get it, that does give me a bit of kind of cognitive dissonance, that maybe it's not just a simple, oh, I'm famous, oh, I'm a rich pop star stuff. Why is it about that all the Americans love? I don't think British people have the same attitude to pop music. I think British people love, they love things like Top of the Pops, as was, and we love good pop music. But there's not this sort of rock and roll royalty thing around British pop music, and I don't think British pop stars really try and be famous in that way. They just want to have good songs. So it's something very American about this idea about being a rich, famous rock star. And When I Grow Up, it's almost hinting at a kind of pastiche of it, and I'm not quite sure. I'd like to think it is. I'd like to think it's a bit kind of sarcastic, but I'm not totally sure. Musically, it's good though. Now, one of my favourite artists of all time, talking of American rock and roll, Hall of Fame, Mr. Frankie Valli and his 4 Seasons. Definitely one of my favourite bands of all time. Kind of blue-eyed soul, doo-wop. This was an old 4 Seasons song, one of their best. Northern soul, really. But it's been kind of turned into something different by Madcon. Now, at this time, there was a lot of remixes of the original 4 Seasons recording of this. So it's, in that respect, maybe a bit of a bandwagon jumper. But they've certainly done their own stuff with it. They really have. It's had a very good 58 million views. I think they're from Norway or somewhere. They don't sound it. This guy's really good. Good rapping. Yeah, they're Norwegian. Josef Volde Mariam and Tishawe Bakwa. Which, let's be honest, doesn't sound that Norwegian a name. Right, yeah, he's from parents originating from Ethiopia and Eritrea. You don't get many Ethiopian-Norwegian hybrids, which is maybe why it's so interesting, it's so good. Wow, it's kind of African tribal rhythm meets Euro Scandinavian perfect pop, really. That's why it's so good. Yeah, so really, really good stuff. Love the original, like this. I don't think it's as sacrilegious at all. I think it's a really good, respectful version. I'm sure Frankie likes it. Okay, Chris Brown, Forever. Yeah, he'd obviously I've talked about him. It's a bit like a kind of more mild version of the R. Kelly thing. Every single time he pops up, there's going to be a yeah, but. It's not a bad song. It's one of those more electro R&B kind of things that are coming in now. The music's okay. The vocals are okay. But it's not good enough to make it sort of transcend all the shit in his life. It's sort of... If someone's done some really, really good music, and I'm thinking, some Amy Winehouse. Well, one Amy Winehouse. It does transcend the other stuff, but Forever by Chris Brown doesn't. Spotlight by Jennifer Hudson is distinctly second-rate. Meh, maybe girls like it. It's not for me, really. You Make It Real by James Morrison's okay. It's a bit third single, fourth singly. It's not really saying anything it's not said in its last few. Now, a real good surprise. Will Young and Changes. A good song, actually. I'm never going to be a massive Will Young fan, but it's a good song. And I do like the fact that these songs are different from each other. They're not all totally syrupy. This one's got a bit of get up and go to it, while still essentially kind of being a ballad, I suppose. Right, Jordan Sparks, not just Sparks. Get rid of the Jordan and just have Sparks, and I'd be all over it. Add the Jordan, and it suddenly becomes another very meh, middle of the road, forgettable, gone by 2009 sort of song. That's Tattoo. Now, it comes to something when a parody is actually better than the things it's parodying. And with that in mind, I think I'm actually going to play it. It's Peter Kay, who actually makes his third appearance on one of these in different guises, because he's a man of many disguises. This is the winner's song, supposedly by Geraldine McQueen. But yeah, you might recognise it's Peter Kay in disguise. He was also in disguise as Brian Potter for the Proclaimers, I'm Gonna Be, and he was instrumental in getting the Amarillo song back into the charts for Tony Christie with that video. So yeah, Peter Kay, he's shaping up to be a bit of a big hitter on these. This song, I think it was co-written or even written by Gary Barlow, and it is just a kind of note for note pastiche of the sort of Leona Lewis stuff that I've been railing against on all the TV stuff. And it's kind of ironic that it comes from someone from TV to take the piss out of it. And if you didn't know better, you would think it was a genuine song. It's got all the tropes of a kind of TV reality show big ballad, which I guess Gary Barlow knows all about because he's written a fair few of those ballads in his time. As such, yeah, it's very, very good parody on stuff that's almost beyond parody, you know, when I'm saying things like Pink seem totally devoid of any kind of irony. This comes along, and although it's totally ironic, it's still a nice song. So yeah, very interesting. That's Winner's Song by Peter Kay, aka Geraldine McQueen. Okay, Sugar Babes are back, and it seems like they're really trying to keep up with Girls Aloud. Whoever said that competition's good? Was it the Adam Smith Institute or someone? It does seem like since Girls Aloud have been getting good, it's making Sugar Babes try and get good. Girls is well known. I think it was in an advert. Was it Boots or Superdrug or something? Here Come the Girls. It's mainly all about the chorus, that one. God, there's lots of songs for girls on this side, aren't there? I'm feeling a bit of an intruder, really. But maybe it was just the rise of sisters doing it for themselves. Although Geraldine McQueen's not like any sister I've ever seen before, really, in my life. Okay, yeah. Right, the Saturdays, talking of the fairer sex and Up. This is a strong opening for them. I'll play it because it's probably the only Saturday song I'm ever going to play. And I'm feeling in a good mood. So yeah, they're fairly generic girl band, really, all in all. But it's a good song. I guess for your opening song, when you're coming into a very crowded field, you've got to show that, you know, you've got something a bit special. Good kind of another electro glam beat. I'll tell you what, Rachel Stevens doesn't get a lot of credit. She didn't even get any credit from me. But she was consistently ahead of a curve when it came to this sort of stuff. The minute she left S Club 7 and started doing this, and over the follow-up years, there's been a fair few more people who've done this kind of stuff. So, yeah, respect. And, yeah, this is a good song. Boyzone are back. Maybe they've seen Take That coming back and they want a piece of the action. Ronan's never been away. Love You Anyway. It's not too bad, not too great. It's just another Boyzone song. Wow, Katy Perry already. Wasting no time and getting her twice on one album. Hot and Cold. More like kind of tepid, really, to be honest. It's not too bad. But it's neither hot nor cold. So maybe it is hot and cold together. Lukewarm. Okay. Now, Encore une fois is back. Encore deux fois for the second time. It's Sash featuring Stunt, Cupid Stunt, and Raindrops. Encore une fois. So this one, it wasn't that long ago I was talking about it, but it was, wow, it was a good 11 years ago now, in terms of real time. It was 1997 and it was one of the very first trance songs, really. Quite a paradigm shifter when it came out, because immediately after it, loads and loads of trance stuff followed in its wake. And it was the best thing Sash did at that time as well. This remake's not bad, actually. It's kept everything that was good about the original. It's just modernised the beat a bit, added some vocals, which normally I don't really like when they don't need to, but in this case they're okay, yeah. So not bad. Now, Bass Hunter. I actually think this is the best of the three so far, Angel in the Night. So that defies the trend, where normally people release their best thing first, and then go downhill a bit. Bass Hunter, Angel in the Night. It's never going to win a Grammy or anything, but it's a good club song. It's relatively interesting. It's got interesting sounds in it. A good vocal. So yeah, that one's not too bad. And Eric Prydz as well, whose worst song was his first, really. I'll stick this one on. This is Piano. I think that's how you pronounce it. Piano. And yeah, this is a very good song. And it feels like his stuff's getting less commercial. It's like he made all his mega bucks, maybe, with the first one, Call On Me. Although most of it would have gone to Stevie Winwood, the royalties. And now he's having a bit of fun and he's easing back into kind of experimental stuff. This really isn't very commercial at all. It's fairly underground piano house, really. But it's really big. It's had 21 million views. So yeah, good stuff. Timeless club stuff, really. You could totally play this today. And it really doesn't sound dated at all. Maybe a bit more dated. Paddy's Revenge, which I'm sure is something to do with Irish music. It's kind of a bit Celtic, a bit gimmicky. So really, I don't think Paddy's really had his last laugh there. That's Steve Mac. Well, it's not too bad. What was that really awful but kind of quite funny Irish one? Shamrock, Tell Me Ma. I still actually on balance think I probably prefer that. But yeah. Okay, Coldplay, Viva La Vida. They're back yet again. Another really, really strong song. They're getting good. I mean, they've always been good, but they're really, again, they're having fun with their music. They're trying new things out. They're never going to be very underground or experimental Coldplay, but they're experimental enough around the basic songs. You know, they're interesting. I still don't really know why so many people don't like Coldplay. I really don't. There's so many worse bands. Now, the script, they're Irish, aren't they? So maybe this one really is Paddy's Revenge. I'll play this one. This is The Man Who Can't Be Moved. This is a really timeless song. This is a really, really good song. Very, very kind of famous. Bit of an instant classic, really. Quite different to the last one as well. Wow, 267 million views. That's like 250 million. And it's obviously understood why. It's a real narrative song. It's a story song about the man who just stands on the street outside, assuming a girl's house. I know he's not outside her house. That would be a bit stalkery. He's just standing on the street asking people where she lives. So it's kind of a bit stalkery, but it's romantic. You get the impression that she'd like it. She wouldn't be upset. He's not invading her space or anything. He's just standing on the street, not moving. Everyone's allowed to just stand and not move, aren't they? So yeah, well, maybe not in these days. maybe like in these days of police officers trying to get people to move from park benches. I wonder how long this man wouldn't be able to be moved. I really like it. I think it's cute. It's sweet. Yeah, it's nice. Okay, we follow this one up with Razorlight and another good song, Wire to Wire. Possibly one of their best yet, actually. Again, they get their haters, but I think it's really good, inventive guitar music. Now, first appearance, next for these guys, Noah and the Whale. And this is 5 years' time. Get this one lined up. More good guitar pop. I've got to say, some of these late noughties guitar bands are really, really good. I forgot how much good guitar music there was in this era. You tend to think guitar music is kind of a bit older, but the kind of all the sort of hip dance and electronica and bassline house would be dominant. And there is a lot of that stuff, but I guess it's a yin and yang thing, you know. The more of that stuff comes out, the more there's also a demand for really good bands doing really good songs. I'm thinking about the development of pop music. I think most of the good songs from Now One, bearing in mind that this is my 71st consecutive Now, I think most of the good songs from Now One could have reappeared at any time on any Now. That 80s pop sound, has really not gone away as such. It's just that there's other stuff. There's maybe less of them per album, and there's more other styles. But this sort of thing, yeah, this could have been on an early Now. This could have been on Now One, Now Two. It's quite folky in a way. It's just timeless pop, really. Very British. Pink is like uber American, but this is uber British. I wonder if it's made it over in America. So that's Noah and the Whale. Okay, another kind of quite random guitar one. Igloo and Hartley, In the City. Not very well known, maybe, but it's got a really good chorus. So that's a good song. Okay, the Ting Tings are back with Shut Up and Let Me Go. Or rather, Shut Up and Let Me Go. Now thinking about it, it's actually harder to say shut up than to just say shut up. Alright, maybe you turn the T into a D, shut up. Maybe even shut up if you're in Yorkshire. Oh, shut up, pet. That's what she should have said. This was the north, isn't it? Salford. But in her voice, it's shut up, which actually takes quite a bit of doing. There is a word for that. Is it an elision or something? Anyway, I don't know why I'm banging on about it, other than it's probably the most interesting part of our vocals. She really cannot sing, can she? She doesn't even try in this one. I'm sure she's a nice person, but she doesn't half sound irritating in her vocals. And I'm not the first person who said that. You read up any write-up of the Ting Tings and people are like, nice music, shame about the vocals. The bass on it is brilliant and the groove is really good. And now I'm feeling guilty that I've picked on someone. Sorry, Katy, I think that's her name. Your songs are okay. Your music's good, but I just don't see why you're putting these sort of silly vocal tropes in. Anyway, what do you guys think? That's the Ting Tings. Shut Up and Let Me Go. Now, the Kaiser Chiefs never miss a beat, and this is as good as they've ever done before. Now, this has a lot more of that kind of irony and in the lyrics. It's a lot more kind of knowing that stuff about what did you do at school? I did nothing and all that. It's satire. There's a lot more to it than just kind of self-evident. It's basically kind of sarcastic. And it's a really good song, really good melody. So that's really good. One of their best yet, the Kaiser Chiefs. And Never Miss a Beat. Snow Patrol, Take Back the City. That's also pretty good. But it's not quite as good as this next one, which is a really unexpected comeback. Because we'd had a lot of Richard Ashcroft stuff on his own. So I was not expecting a Verve comeback. But here they are with Love Is Noise. And it's a nice noise indeed. You could even say I love it. So yeah, it's the Verve. Love Is Noise. Consistent. They were good on their own. Richard Ashcroft stuff's been consistently good. They've been going on and on since the late 90s, either them or him on his own. So yeah, this is really good. And it's followed by Wow. Guru Josh, Infinity, 2008. The original was from 1990, Time for the Guru. So is 2008 still Time for the Guru? He died a few years ago, which is quite sad because he was kind of a pioneer. He was always on the more kind of, let's say, commercial side of rave. But this song is timeless, sort of saxophone, instrumental almost. It's just got a bit of vocal chanting on it. The remix is okay actually. It was nice to hear it again. I don't think it's quite got the cultural import of the original, which really did kind of showcase the 90s. Never made it now, so it's kind of good that it is on a now. Yeah, good stuff. Right, okay. Our old friend Robin is back now. This time with Christian Falk. History doesn't tell us whether he's related to Peter Falk, aka Columbo. Just one more thing. My wife's a big fan of yours. Good song. And you can tell from the moment it starts it's going to be interesting, because it starts with kind of a sparse opening really, just kind of drums and a beat, well, drums half a beat, and the vocals and hardly anything else, and then it kind of slowly eases in. This is a really good combination actually, yeah. Robin's got a nice voice. She's definitely got an interesting voice, more of that Scandinavian kind of perfect pop thing going on. Where is she actually from? Probably find out she's from Wigan now, like the Verve. No, she's Swedish, I knew it. Yeah, really good. And Christian Falk, is he Swedish as well? I don't think so. Might be. Yeah, he's Swedish as well. There's also an Austrian footballer called Christian Falk. Alright, he was one of those people involved with Madhouse who did that rather meh version of Like a Prayer. Anyway, that's Christian and Robin, and she's obviously Robin's ditched Batman by this point. That was a really contrived laboured joke. I really wish I hadn't bothered. Sorry about that. That was right Duff. Now, talking of Duffy, she is now back with Stepping Stone, and it's a good song. Should we stick it on? Yeah. Let's. Okay, so Duffy and Stepping Stone. Sounds a bit like this. Thank you, Robin and Christian Falk and his Duffy. Yeah, nice and atmospheric. There's been other songs called Stepping Stone. I think even The Farm did one years ago. You could say it's maybe a bit in the Amy Winehouse paradigm, but you know what my answer to that is if you've seen my old videos. Amy Winehouse is in the Gabrielle paradigm, as in like 20 years ago almost. Well, a good 15 years ago. So Gabrielle, yeah, underrated really. But this is nice. This is really nice. Yeah, very haunting as well. I really don't want to dwell on it, but Duffy's been through some shit. She really has. So I really, got a lot of compassion for her, and much love, Duffy. Okay, right. Probably one of the best songs on a very good album. Another good album. Well up to standard. Certainly one of the most interesting songs ever. One of those songs that I totally remember the first time I ever heard it. I was round at a mate's in Hastings because I was living down there at this time, and I remember him playing it to me, and she said, "Oh, have you heard this yet?" And I was like, "No." And he played it, and I was like, "Wow, I've never heard anything like this in my life." So it immediately takes me back to 2009. Can you recognise it? I think it's the last song with a bicycle connection since Katy Perry had 9 million bicycles. It's Handlebars by Flobots. Yeah, I think this is probably single song of the album. It's so unique. It's so unique. It's another American, I'm assuming, kind of one-hit wonder. They might have had other songs, but in terms of kind of impact, it's a bit like stuff like They call them experimental rap, which I guess they are, yeah. But they're kind of rocky as well. It's kind of alternative rock, yeah. Um, it's good. It's really good. It's just so unique and instantly catchy. Good, great lyrics. Very thought-provoking, very haunting, very soulful. Bit like in the same kind of style as, well, not musical, but the same kind of lyrical style as the JCB song, maybe, by Nizlopi. Just quirky and offbeat. Yeah. I might do an alternative naughties album. By the way, I made a bit of a goof in one of my last videos. As you know, if you watch a lot of these, I make deliberate mistakes. I was trying to talk about the decade starting 2010 through to 19, and I kind of mistakenly called it the noughties, when of course this is the noughties, 2000 to 2010. Have we agreed on a name yet for the 2010s? Are they the 10s? Are they the teenies? The 2010s? What are we going to call that decade? I've been trying to find out what the official term for it is, and no one seems to have agreed yet. Yeah, answers in the comments. What are we going to call the decade from 2010 to 2019? Anyway, I digress. This is a lovely song. This is really nice, but interesting as well. Okay, great. Is that a trumpet solo? It's really nice. Keen about with Spiraling, and that's one of their best. That's really good. They're kind of slight change in sound for them now, kind of rocking it up a bit. Really like it, and I really like this next one as well. Actually, I've liked almost everything that Fly have done. Almost everything. They did have that weird spell where they weren't quite as good for a few songs. Maybe it was just me. Maybe I just wasn't in the mood on that day. But this one, almost don't want to stop this short. I'll try and do a sympathetic fade. Because it is a bloody good song. Yeah, really good song. And a really dynamic song as well. When you think how gentle it was when it started, now it's properly rocking out. Yeah, that's Flobots and Handlebars. Now, best song, I think, by McFly ever. It's Lies. Perfect pop, really. They've totally kind of moved away from anything even resembling punk. And it's another one in that kind of ELO, late 70s, chugging sort of sound. Maybe even a bit of Supertramp. Yeah, it's a progressive pop, I guess you call it. Yeah, prog pop. There we go. But it, like a lot of his stuff, what makes it good? Great vocals, great melody, good lyrics. You'll find yourself singing along, even if you don't like this kind of music. The idea of a great pop singer was it'll make you like it just by being catchy. This is great. And another good one. Wow, there's so many good songs on here actually. Struggling to keep up, but I want to play all my favourites. Another one that maybe is a bit of a guilty pleasure for a 45-year-old man, but no pretense here. I just like what I like. And at the end of the day, music itself doesn't know age. And you know, I'm trying to go beyond like just what's my demographic. Otherwise, I'd be listening to Status Quo. I've just gone from now on up to this 71. Getting senile, I can't count. Yeah, I've literally just treated now 1 to now 71 exactly the same from my point of view. Doesn't matter how old I am when they came out. I'm sitting here in lockdown, in quarantine. Well, not quite quarantine, lockdown. Just listening to them all saying which songs I like. So I don't care if they're 83, if they're 2009. If they get me singing and dancing along like this one certainly does. It just sounds a bit weird when you sing about my boyfriend. I sing this one in the car, but I do shut up the windows. Yeah, I really like this. I've always liked this song. It's so catchy. It's just perfect pop. She looks a bit like Robin, kind of short-haired Scandinavian lady. Yeah, it's just great catchy music. So I'm really giving away all my guilty pleasures on this one, aren't I? But if the music's there and it wins me over, I'm up for it. Great song, really good song, probably the best alphabet song. Really good. Just exciting. It's upbeat and exciting. Biffy Clyro. And I like the chorus. The verse isn't all that. After these really exceptionally good, perfect pop songs, it's maybe not quite up there, but it's still pretty good. On a shitty now, that would be a highlight. But on this really good now, it's kind of not quite up there. But it's okay. Anything to do with mountains is alright by me. Now, Ida Maria, I like you so much better when you're naked. Uh, I like the music on it. There's some really, really good bass and drums on there. I don't like her voice, and I don't like the chorus, and it's a bit less than the sum of its parts. It could, and almost was really, really good. It's just a bit let down by the vocals. Now, a contender for worst song on the album, Little Jackie, The World Should Revolve Around Me. That name immediately rubs me up the wrong way. The World Should Revolve Around Me. But then we have had people like Peter Kay on here, so I've always kind of got one out open for is it ironic or not. I don't think it is. If it's not, then it's pure narcissism, NPD, basically sociopathic. And the fact that it's set to this really happy, kind of really sort of happy music, it just makes it satanic, really. I think the devil's behind that one. The world should revolve around me, unless it's irony and I'm missing out on it. But I think if you're doing something ironic about narcissism and sociopathy, I think you want to signal your irony a bit better than they do there. Otherwise, you just sound like a damaged human being spreading your poison. So we'll give that one a big no-no. Gym Class Heroes, Cookie Jars, meh. Teo Cruz, She's Like a Star is okay, but it does say She's Like a Star a million times. It's not quite as good as I Can Be. So that leaves one more, which we'll play out with, and it's Platinum's version of Love Shy, which was a massive UK garage hit from back in the 90s. Here it's been bass-lined up a bit. Pretty good. Like all this bass-line stuff, it's got a bit of energy. It's maybe not as good as the original, but you can't really go wrong with sort of bass-line groove. Yeah. It's just energy again. Okay, let's go through these songs then. Almost all of them be really good. Way more good than bad. So it's another 40-minute video, almost. Girls Aloud, The Promise. Camp, but good. I Kissed a Girl. Lesbian overtones, but good. So What? Utter shit. That's Pink. Sex on Fire. Kings of Leon. Classic rock. All Summer Long. Controversial, but quite good. I like the mashup idea. Disturbia by Rihanna. Some weird sounding vocals, but a good song. When I Grow Up, Pussycat Dolls. Again, I'd like to think there's a bit of irony there. I'd like to think it's pointing out there's something a bit darker about the pop ideal. Musically, it's good. Beggin' is a great version of the old Frankie Valli and Four Seasons song. One of my favourite groups, and Mad can't do it justice. Then there's a few that are okay. Changes is surprisingly good by Will Young. Peter Kay's The Winner's Song. It's actually better than Tattoo by Jordan Sparks. Spotlight by Jennifer Hudson. So it's weird when a novelty joke song's better than the things it's actually parodying. Up by Saturdays is a good opener for them. Girls by Sugar Babes is okay. If you're a girl, it's probably really good. Hot and Cold by Katy Perry is not too bad. Encore and Four Raindrops is a good remake of that. Angel in the Night by Bass Hunters, surprisingly good. Piano You by Eric Bridge, surprisingly good. Viva La Vida's top form Coldplay. The Script, The Man Who Can't Be Moved, is an absolute classic. 5 Years Time, Hello Noah and the Whale. The Ting Tings, Shut Up and Let Me Go. Good music, bad vocals. Never Miss a Beat, Kaiser Chiefs, classic. The Verve, Love Is Noise, classic. Infinity 2008, not a bad cover. A remix, should I say. But it's not as good as the original. Dream On, Christian Falk and Robin's good. Duffy's Stepping Stone's really good. Song of the album, I think, Handlebars, Flobots. Spiraling by Keen's brilliant. Lies by McFly's brilliant. Alphabet, Boyfriend's brilliant. My Guilty Pleasure. Mountains is okay. The worst song is absolutely fucking The World Should Revolve Around Me. Because it's so narcissistic, and I don't even think it's having a go at it. I actually think it's telling people that's how you should live your life. It's disgusting. If it is a joke, Little Jackie, I'm really sorry. It went right over my head. She's Like a Star by Tayo's okay, and Love Shy's. It's kind of its time, but it's good upbeat bass line. There we go then. Now 71. I'll be back next time with now 72, and I think I've just about made 40 minutes, which is really nice. Okay, see you later, everyone. Bye.